Our next speaker is someone I met some time back. Again, you know, all my friends have dirty fingernails these days. Thorben, and he's here to talk about Aerosprings. Again, you know, entrepreneur coming up with an idea, loves planting, and then he's created this whole system that you can see outside. And you know, he took a bet and it's doing very well now. It's selling very well. So let me welcome Thorben.
Hi everyone. My name is Thorben. I'm Danish. Anyway, I'm from Denmark. My parents were entrepreneurs. I think I would say they in the 70s they had a clothing factory in Denmark, and they produced fashion clothes for young girls. And I think from that I learned a lot about the hardships of having your own business. They went bankrupt twice, and they had years where they were doing really well. So I think I've seen, you know, the ups and the downs of being in a startup. And I think part of my message today is not so much only about growing your own food, which is certainly my message. Just let me know when I'm ready. I'm ready now. So, yes, we grow our own food. This is how I started the business. We wanted to get out of this cycle of buying very expensive, tasteless tomatoes from America that were washed in hydrogen peroxide. Anyway, so predicting the future is really difficult. You know, it's no different than the weather. It changes all the time, and especially in Singapore. So what I think I've learned is that you get a new perspective and you have to go with the punches and roll with them. And I think the path that I have had to become a founder of an urban grow technology company is one of diversity as well. So I've already gone through this a little bit. I'm from a very small town called Ikast in Denmark. I've been here for 18 years. I'm a PR since 2009. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've done IT, electronic waste recycling, and I love DIY projects. So I like to build my own stuff. I think that's something that's missing in the Singapore culture. You don't have a Bauhaus or a Bunnings. Why not? Because none of you fixes your own toilets. None of you changes the tap if it's broken or leaking. But in Denmark, where we pay 60% tax, we all do that because we have no choice. So why did we start growing our own food? It was really because of the quality of the food and the price of the food that we were faced with. Honestly, the tomatoes, there was actually like this one moment when we went to the supermarket and we had guests over, and I bought some of these tomatoes and I got the cheaper ones because they're damn expensive. So we came home and we had the dinner, and I swear to God, if you closed your eyes and ate the tomato, you wouldn't have to hold your nose because there was just no flavor to it. There's no flavor at all. And then we went to got the more expensive tomatoes, and then you're looking at $2 or $3 for a tomato, and it just eventually pissed us off to a degree where we said, okay, let's try and grow our own tomatoes. So this picture is quite old, and it's quite dark on this screen here, but actually this tomato plant is the reason we started. That's how I started it, and that plant died soon after this picture was taken because we went on a four-day long weekend to Malaysia. What's next to it is the first prototypes of the Aerospring, which was that I realized because of the way that we were living and growing in soil was so difficult for us because of, you know, when you leave it alone, you don't water it, it gets a very hot day. We had bugs in them. So I decided to build a system that was independent of soil, that would be able to grow a lot of food on a very small space. And something, most importantly, that was self-watering, so that we didn't have to keep remembering to water it. So what happened was that I went out and I got some PVC pipe. These are 6-inch PVC pipes. They're 2 meters long, and they cost about $20 for a pipe. And I saw a video on YouTube, and I decided, okay, let's try to make a vertical garden. So I got a heat gun and a saw, and I actually, these holes are melted by heating up the PVC pipe a couple of minutes, and then putting in a wood template or a wood peg that I had, you know, sanded down. That was approximately of the shape of the white cups that are in the system. And basically, this picture, sorry, let me just go back. This picture here is from Ridgewood, which is not far, out in the west a little bit, and it's a friend's place. And we set them up there I built 10 of them, and we started to grow 60-liter bucket. There's an aquarium pump in it that just lifts the water up to the top. And we cultivated over 300 plants for about 2 years, and we made a lot of mistakes. Sometimes we would have really hot days, and we realized, these plants couldn't handle that. As we started to grow, and you can actually see in the picture one of the poles in the back there, they're a bit droopy. It was a hot day. Later in the year, you'll see this is about 6 months of growth for basil. And what I soon realized was that we started, when we went to dinner parties with friends, normally I'll bring a bottle of wine, but soon we started to bring Ziploc bags full of basil, mint, coriander, whatever herbs and tomatoes that we were able to grow. And actually it started as a hobby, not at all as a business idea, and we were just so thrilled that we were able to grow all of this type of herbs and lettuce. And it actually sort of opened our eyes to the reality that it is not that difficult. If you build a system that's self-sustaining and that waters itself, that you actually can forget about for a while and the plants deal with it themselves, it makes a lot of sense. This is our balcony at Pandan Valley. We had 15 kilos of cucumbers coming off of that. It took probably 4 months to get the plant that big, and then kapoom, we got, 75 cucumbers or more. And we had gin tonic with cucumbers every night. These are our jalapenos. And all types of chilies that I actually didn't even know that was possible to grow in this country. So what happened was that our friends, they kept saying, oh my God, this is amazing. Can you make me one of your poles? And it takes about 6 or 7 hours to make one of these poles, and you chip a lot of nails and you burn your fingers. So I decided at one point, after probably 50 of our friends said, I want to do this too. Can you make me one, or can you show me how to do it? So we decided to set it up, and just as another reason why I jumped into this was that I spent the previous 12 months raising funds for a fuel-saving technology firm that were able to save a lot of fuel in diesel engines. At the time, diesel fuel was hovering about $100 a barrel. Now, what is it, $17 or something? Anyway, that whole deal went bust, mainly because of investors and VCs and law firms not keeping their end of the deals. And I think also I got a little bit tired with that and burned out from that because I put a lot of effort into it. And that, I think, even spurred me more into the direction of doing the planting thing, because whenever I came home from the office, I simply went into the garden and I forgot about all this bullshit that was going on in my day life. And I became, an urban gardener, and it really relaxed me, and I felt so happy doing that. And so PVC pipes, we understood when I wanted to do the business, was that I did some research. PVC pipe is being used by a lot of farms to grow in. It's actually not the best plastic. If you leave it out in the sun for a couple of years, it starts to crack. And when it starts to crack, you start having leaching of certain bad chemicals that comes into the water, and God knows what happens. Does it come into our salad? So I understood that I had to build a system that was both durable and able to stay in the sun for many years without degrading. And secondly, a system that could be packed into a box and shipped anywhere in the world. So future-proof is really talking about FutureME, and I think that this business and growing your own food and having an industry or business around it is future-proof. We want to educate, innovate, and inspire the next generation about healthier food, healthier living, and about the benefits of. It's not just the fact that you can have a salad that you grew yourself. That's so cool, but it's not only about that. It's also about the fact that the salad that I used to buy at cold storage or fair price comes from the United States of America. I mean, think about that. It's from the other side of the planet, the salad. It's a simple plant, really. And we ship it in, we put it in a plane, we ship it around the world to Singapore and then to cold storage. It probably have 50% waste before it actually gets to the shelf where you can choose it. So by the time that you get it, maybe it's 4 weeks old. It's been washed in hydrogen peroxide. There's no oxygen in the container when you open it, because that would make it rot a lot quicker. So there's no nutrients in that food, none at all. So I believe that it's very important that we start considering, and the product that we have developed is able to get you all to grow your own food if you have 50 centimeters of floor space on your balcony with adequate light. You know, you use neglected outdoor space that you're not using. How many of you have a barbecue that's got a cover on that's only being used about twice a year, right? That's the type of space I'm talking about. What about the other side of the balcony where you have 4 pot plants with dead soil and twigs sticking out? We all have that, right? Because they don't survive in the pots. So when I decided to do the business, because I'm Danish, and when I was a kid, I always wanted to get these speakers. These are Bang & Olufsen speakers, and they're from 1986. But they were the shitnet back then. They were, you know, $5,000–6,000. It's like price of a car, really. And I just really loved them. And one of my rich friends, I saw them in his house once, and I never forgot the sound as well. So part of me got inspired by the Bang & Olufsen speakers. It's a pentagon. And the second part was obviously that, you know, Lego is Danish, and I grew up with Lego. And I was the kind of kid that would take a Lego set that was supposed to be a ship, but I'll build a truck. I never looked at the manual anyway. I just, you know, did stuff like that. So this is sort of like how I thought about it. My further inspiration also came from, I really like the idea of the hexagon, the honeycomb. First of all, it's very strong, and the way that you can sort of space them out if you have a commercial farm with Aerospring Gardens is very cool and very useful in the use of the space. Obviously Lego as well. So this is, what I'm taking you through is really like the story of getting the idea and up until launch. So this is the first 3D printed prototype. Now that part cost me $500, but it was very, very cool. And I'll show you, I then got, after I bought that $500 part and I realized I had to make changes to it, I realized that I can't afford buying $500 parts all the time. So I got myself a 3D printer. I taught myself how to 3D print. It's actually not hard. If any of you want to try, jump right into it. It's a lot of fun, and it's not that hard anymore. So I was 3D printing all of these different models, trying to achieve a column that I was satisfied with, as in I didn't want it to drip water on your floor if you put it inside. I wanted it to look good. I wanted the plants to have enough space for the roots to grow. And all of that really, how do you know if a plant needs how much root space and stuff? So you have to try. So I grew a lot. I printed about 2.5 kilometers of plastic. And here's, you can turn the volume down of the video if possible. So this is just to show you how we 3D printed. It took 24 hours to print one of these sections. And I then took it from the printer into my garden. And you know, every day I added another section until I had like 12 or 15 sections, and I was growing on our balcony in these shapes. Let me see if I can go forward. So basically after maybe 6 or 7 months of research and development and printing different design solutions, I came up with this final design. And I came up with, there's actually seven individual plastic parts that makes up the product. So there's 7 injection molding tools that we wanted to go for. So I took control of my own future, decided to let go of all of these VC world and, you know, high fees and very little integrity, and took control, set up our own business. And it was a leap of faith, because honestly, I didn't know if anyone except myself really thought this was cool. All my friends, sure, but I don't think they always tell us the truth when we start a business. They sometimes, you know, say, oh yeah, it's cool, but in reality, they don't really like it that much. So we invested everything we had into this. And the only thing that I did very wisely was that, you know, all the things that you're not good at in a startup, make sure that you find people that are better at it. So once I had done my design and my 3D printing, I got a design for production agency. They do a lot more than that, and I want to mention their name. They're called Amphibian. They are registered in Singapore, and they have a team of engineers, product designers, mechanical engineers, and sourcing people, manufacturing people all around the world. It's a very small company, but what they were able to do was to basically give me a professional organization of 5 or 6 people that I could use. I pay a monthly fee to use them, and they were then able to take my crazy idea, my design, and make it into a producible mass-producible part, and that's how I was able to get to the tooling, because it becomes quite technical for us normal people to do those things. Here is our home, and this is the prototypes. And that big green in the background is the cucumber plant that I talked to you about before. And as you can see, we have plenty of herbs and vegetables for our own garden. We have mint, chives, thyme, parsleys, chilies, pretty much anything that we wanted to grow, we are able to grow in this system. So it's been a fantastic journey, and I just wanted to show you this because, look, I'm not a gardener. I am not a mechanical engineer. I'm not really anything except for tenacious, maybe. And I just got pissed off with the prices of the tomatoes, and I'm really happy that I got these shitty tomatoes today because I was able to then actually get provoked almost to take action. And this is really, I think, one of the important messages for young entrepreneurs in Singapore is that there's so many naysayers out there, so many people that tells you can't do it, that's too difficult, and you should go and work for a bank, but it's very possible. So this is the second prototype. I went through different iterations of the system. So as you can see on the left side is the very sharp-edged, one of the earlier prototypes, and on the right is actually the later one. And I was actually able to see that the plants were doing better in the later designs because it has to do with how the roots spread out when they come inside of the interior of the system, how much space they have to grow. And I was actually able to test this with the 3D printer. So I could get an idea on Monday, and on Tuesday I could try it out. That's really incredible. So as you can see, our mints, everything started to grow better and better, and we got better and better at growing. This is us going for a dinner party, basically bringing herbs straight from the garden. I tell you one thing is that all of the herbs and vegetables that you are all eating today, they don't really taste like that. If you grow them yourself, you will realize they have a different flavor. That's almost getting lost. So after all of this mumbo jumbo and trying and trials, it was time to then basically pull the trigger. And in this business, that means making the injection molding tools, and they are huge. They are, you see on the left there, that is the cavity of the bucket. So that piece on the left probably weighs about 2 tons, and the other piece that fits into the top is about 2 tons as well. So we did all of this. Most of the parts are produced in Singapore. The bucket and the bucket lid were made in China. But all of these parts here are produced in Singapore. Fantastic little company called Yinshan Engineering in Toa Payoh North. I do pay a little bit more, to produce it in Singapore, but I'm proud to do that. And also financially and business-wise, I think it makes sense to have your production partner close to you. We have developed a wonderful relationship, and they're giving me payment terms I didn't even ask for today. That would never happen in China. Nobody is going to copy it before if I had produced it in China, I'm so worried that my design, which I've patented, both the design and the function of, will be copied even before I get to launch it. I've seen that happen many times. So all of the different parts, you can see the steel molds for that. And this is in Toa Payoh. And this is the wife of the owner out on the production line. The cycle time to make one of the parts is about 60 seconds. So for you, all of you who don't know anything about injection molding, you have a steel mold that comes together, and after 60 seconds you inject the hot plastic, molten plastic, and then after about 60 seconds out comes a fully completed part that used to take me about 26 hours to print. So can make them very quickly. So we launched in February 2016. We had a lot of pre-orders, maybe 80 pre-orders, and we decided that the way to deliver this product to the people is not to give them a box and send them on their way. It would be to go to their house, figure out where to install it, talk to the owners of the garden, and give them the plants already growing. So we set out to actually grow, 5,000 to 6,000 seedlings in our living room, on a rack with LED lights, and we had some people helping us. And I went out and I have installed maybe 90 systems myself. I drove in February about 2,600 kilometers in a van and did all these installations. So these are pictures I have taken, and we are starting to, from Nassim Road, Sunset Way. I mean, we have been at HDB flats with no balconies, and I have been at very, very expensive places too. So it seems that there's a general appeal of this product. So you can see there's a before and after. This is out in Tulakura. Tulakura, I think I have 5 customers. I don't know why, but something is going on out there, but I'm very happy about it. This is another one. This is at the Cube, I think, on Thompson Road. This is a 6-week. We just got that picture in, I think, 2 days ago. So that really warms my heart to see that with doing nothing, except, after I installed it, just leaving it alone, they start having that much success with it. So I have many of these examples. Kids love it. In fact, I have maybe 4 or 5 customers where when I come and install it, the parents, they say, no, this is not ours. This is my son's or my daughter's. And they are the ones who listen. They are the ones who understand how to maintain it. So it's really a great thing for children. And also some larger children. This is Café Melba out at the Goodman Arts Center. This is our first professional customer, because one of our aims is to not only to enable private people to be able to grow their own food, but why not help some restaurants that have outdoor space get some fresh herbs and vegetables that they can take straight from the pole and straight into basically your dishes. So, that's basically where we are now. I think we have sold about 200 gardens. That was my first production run. We are producing again next week, so you can order if you want. We are listed at Tangs, we had Fais Flora, and the Bureau, which is at Tan Bun Liat building. We have some, beyond Café Melba, we are going into another restaurant on the Orchard Road at the Heron, which is Angela May Food Chapters, opening in April. And we are talking to NMCs about their corporate social responsibility programs, where they actually put urban farms on their rooftops, which both will cool down the building, save electricity, and secondly will be producing fresh herbs for the employees and or for elderlies, which some of them do. So this is our own Richwood urban farm today, and this is really our journey. I'm very happy that we are here today, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Thorben. Just a question. Do you think, when you embarked on this, did you feel that there was a market for this product?
I felt there was a market.
You
yes.
felt there was
it was a feeling, because I think everyone, I'm sure everyone in this room can identify with the idea that it's good. And I remember thinking that all my friends, all of them, when you go to their outdoor space, they all have pots. No plants, they have pots with soil. So they all tried, right? So I thought, hey, let's make it easier. And I think that if that's the hurdle that we wanted to overcome, the barrier of entry. Right. Because everyone says, my plants died. I can't do it.
Thank you very much. You're welcome. So what's really interesting is we've had 4 speakers who come from different places with, in some ways, a similar point of view about how we should embrace nature and how we're so distant from it. So please go out and talk to all 4 of them, figure out where the philosophies are, and they all have different farming concepts.